Welcome back to our channel, Rare Coins All World, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we have something truly special in store for you. We're going to explore one of the most fascinating and potentially lucrative coins ever minted in the United States. Yes, we're talking about the 1961-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny with a secret hidden beneath its surface. If you think all pennies are just worth 1 cent, think again, because today, we'll show you how the 1960 penny could be worth far more than its face value. Stick around until the end to find out exactly how much this little coin could fetch if it's in the right condition and with the right characteristics. You might just have a small fortune sitting in your coin jar. Before we dive into the value of the 1961-cent coin, let's take a quick look at the historical background. The 1960 penny was part of a unique era in U.S. coinage. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, the U.S. Mint was making some interesting changes to the design and production processes for many of its coins. For example, the 1960 penny was the first year that the large date and small date varieties were minted. More on that in just a moment. 1960 also marked a time of transition in American society. The country was in the midst of the Cold War, President Dwight D. Eisenhower was in office, and American culture was rapidly changing. The coin itself, however, remained fairly unchanged in terms of design. It still featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the reverse displayed the classic wheat ears, which were used on pennies from 1909 to 1958. But what makes the 1960 penny so interesting is the variations in its design and minting process, which plays a huge role in its value today. When it comes to the 1960 penny, one of the most important factors to consider is the mint mark. The mint mark tells you where the coin was produced. The options for the 1960 penny were the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, but what sets the 1960 penny apart from other years is the existence of two different date varieties, the large date and the small date, large date. In this variety, the numbers of the date are noticeably larger and more spaced out. This version was more common, and it's the one you'll typically find in circulation. Small date. In the small date variety, the numbers are smaller, closer together, and generally less prominent. This version was produced in much smaller quantities, making it far rarer and much more valuable. The small date variety is the one collectors go crazy for. If you have a 1960 penny with a small date, you could be holding something very valuable indeed, and it could fetch you far more than just 1 cent. But that's not all. It's not just about the date. The minting process of the time also played a role in some very subtle but important variations. Now, let's talk about rarity. While the 1960 large date penny isn't particularly rare, the 1960 small date penny is a different story. This coin was produced in very limited numbers, especially in the Philadelphia Mint. Many of these pennies were lost to circulation, damaged, or worn out, making high-grade specimens harder to find. What makes this coin even more intriguing is the existence of a very specific error type that can be found in some 1960 pennies, the double die reverse error. This happens when a coin is struck more than once, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect on the design. If you have a 1960 small date penny with this double die error, you're holding a truly exceptional piece. The combination of the rare small date variety and any potential minting errors makes the 1960 penny an object of great interest to serious coin collectors. Coins that are in excellent condition, especially those that have been well preserved or professionally graded, can command a premium in the marketplace. So, what kind of condition does your 1960 penny need to be in to fetch top dollar? Well, just like with any collectible, the condition of the coin is a huge determining factor in its value. Coins are graded based on their level of wear, with the highest grades being MS 65 or higher, mint state, meaning uncirculated or nearly perfect. If your 1960 penny is in mint state or proof-like condition, it has the potential to be worth much more than a regular, worn-out penny. Coins that show little to no signs of circulation and maintain sharp, clear details will always attract more attention from collectors. Coins that are graded as MS 66 or MS 67 can sometimes command much higher prices. Now, we come to the most exciting part, the value of your 1960 penny. If you happen to own a 1960 small date penny in uncirculated condition, you could be holding on to a small fortune. As we've mentioned, the small date variety is much rarer than the large date, and collectors are constantly on the lookout for these pieces in top condition. So, how much can you expect to get for a 1960 penny? A typical 1960 large date penny in average condition might only be worth a few cents, maybe 5 to 10 cents. A 1960 small date penny in average condition could be worth anywhere from $10 to $20. But if you have a high-grade 1960 small date penny, one in MS-65 or better condition, you could see its value soar to upwards of $1,000 to $2,000. And if you're lucky enough to have a 1960 small date penny with a rare double die error, you could see that number climb even higher. But here's the kicker, a 1960 small date penny in perfect condition, or with an error that stands out, could be worth as much as $40,000. Yes, you heard that right. $40,000 for a single 1960 penny. That's an incredible amount of money for a coin that was once part of everyday change. So, if you've got any old pennies lying around in your collection or hidden away in your spare change jar, it's definitely worth taking a second look at them. You could be sitting on a hidden treasure. Today, in this video, we're diving into a seemingly ordinary penny, the 1976 1-cent coin. You might think, it's just a penny, but trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The 1976 penny, especially when you take into account the mint mark, condition, and possible rare errors, could be worth far more than its face value. Stick around to the end because we're going to reveal just how much this little coin could be worth, and trust me, it's going to surprise you. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty of coin values, let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1976 penny. The year 1976 was a big deal for the United States. It marked the bicentennial, 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The entire nation was in celebration mode, and that excitement extended to U.S. currency. To mark this significant occasion, the U.S. Mint produced a number of commemorative coins, most notably the redesigned bicentennial quarter. While the penny itself wasn't given a flashy new design for the bicentennial, it still played an important role in the economic landscape of the time. The penny, designed by Victor David Brenner, still featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, it wasn't just the bicentennial celebration that makes the 1976 penny interesting, it's the way it was minted that has caught the attention of collectors and numismatists ever since. You may be wondering, what's so special about a 1976 penny? Well, the answer lies in the mint mark. As with most U.S. coins, where a coin is minted plays a huge role in its rarity and value. The 1976 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia Mint. Coins produced here do not carry a mint mark. Denver Mint. Coins from this mint will have the D mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. San Francisco Mint. The S mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint, where most of the coins were produced for collectors in proof or special mint sets. But the real intrigue with the 1976 penny lies in the fact that a few key varieties exist based on these mint marks, and how the coin was struck. One of the biggest reasons the 1976 penny is so valuable to collectors is due to these variations. Now, let's talk about rare varieties and minting errors, the real goldmine for coin collectors. While the 1976 penny was produced in large numbers, there are a few specific varieties and errors that can make this seemingly ordinary coin extraordinarily valuable. The small date versus large date. One of the first things collectors look for is the small date versus large date variety. In 1976, some of the coins were minted with a small date, where the numbers in the year are smaller and closer together. Others were minted with a large date, where the numbers are larger and more spaced out. The small date variety is the rarer of the two and can be much more valuable, especially in high grades. Double die errors. Another highly sought-after error type is the double die reverse. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, which causes the details to appear doubled on the reverse side of the coin, often in the lettering or design elements. If you happen to have a 1976 penny with this error, you've stumbled upon a true gem. Off-center strikes. This is another minting flaw that collectors love. An off-center strike occurs when the coin is not properly aligned with the press, causing the design to be misaligned and partially off the coin. These coins are rare and highly desirable, especially for those looking to add something unique to their collection. Die cracks and other errors. There are also coins that exhibit die cracks, lines that appear on the coin from a cracked die, or repunched mint marks, where the mint mark is struck more than once. These errors add to the rarity of the coin, and collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for these pieces. Now, let's talk about condition, one of the most important factors when it comes to determining the value of a coin. Just like with any collectible, the better the condition of your 1976 penny, the higher its potential value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70, with mint state being a coin that is essentially perfect, with no wear or damage. The highest grades, MS65 or above, can significantly increase a coin's value. A coin that is well preserved and free from wear, scratches, or discoloration is considered uncirculated or mint state. These coins can command a much higher price than those that have been heavily circulated. Proof coins, which were specially struck for collectors and packaged in sets, tend to be in better condition than regular circulation coins. If you have a 1976 penny from the San Francisco Mint in proof condition, it can be worth a lot more, especially if it features a rare error. So, let's get to the big question: how much could your 1976 penny be worth? Well, the value depends on the mint mark, the condition of the coin, and whether it has any of those rare varieties or errors we just discussed. A regular 1976 penny with no errors and in typical circulated condition is only worth 1 cent, the face value. A 1976 penny in uncirculated condition, especially if it's from the Denver or San Francisco Mint, might be worth a few dollars, depending on the condition and any small variations. If you have a 1976 penny with a rare small date or a minting error, that's where things get interesting. Some of these coins could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's condition. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. If you happen to own a perfect 1976 penny, one in pristine, uncirculated condition with a rare error such as the double die reverse, off-center strike, or a small date variety, then you could be looking at a value of $45,000. Yes, you heard that right, $45,000 for a single 1976 penny. It might sound unbelievable, but with the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting errors, your 1976 penny could indeed be worth a small fortune. So, next time you're going through your spare change, make sure to take a second look at those pennies. You never know what you might have hidden away. Today, we've got something special in store for you, especially if you're into the hidden gems of American currency. We're talking about the 1975 1-cent coin, a penny that, at first glance, might seem ordinary, but trust me, it holds more than just sentimental value. In fact, the 1975 penny might be worth far more than you think. You might be wondering, what makes this 1975 penny so valuable? Well, if you're ready to learn about its history, unique minting features, and how you can tell if you have a rare, valuable specimen, then stick around. And make sure to watch all the way to the end, because we'll reveal just how much a 1975 penny could fetch in today's market. Spoiler alert, it's a lot more than 1 cent. Before we dive into the details of the 1975 penny, let's take a step back and look at the historical context. 1975 was a unique year in the United States. The country was in the middle of the post-Vietnam War era, and a lot of significant changes were happening politically, economically, and culturally. While the country was experiencing a period of economic struggle, 1975 was also a time of reflection on the country's journey since its founding. Coinage in the 1970s was largely shaped by the inflationary pressures of the time, and the U.S. Mint was adjusting its production methods to keep up with demand. The penny, however, remained relatively unchanged in design. It still featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse side displayed the Lincoln Memorial, one of the most recognized symbols of American history. But, in 1975, something interesting happened with the production of this penny that would make it particularly valuable to collectors in the years to come. We'll get into that in just a moment. Now, let's talk about the mint mark and how it can affect the value of the 1975 penny. Mint marks are crucial in determining a coin's rarity and value because they tell you where the coin was made. In 1975, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at three main facilities. Philadelphia Mint. Pennies made at the Philadelphia Mint don't carry a mint mark. So, if you find a 1975 penny with no mint mark, it was produced at this facility. Denver Mint. Coins produced at the Denver Mint have a D mint mark located on the reverse side of the coin, usually just below the date. San Francisco Mint. While this is more common with proof coins, some 1975 pennies were also produced here, especially for collectors. These coins carry the S mint mark, indicating they were produced in San Francisco, but the real intrigue lies in the specific varieties produced that year, particularly when it comes to the proof sets and error coins that were struck during 1975. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. 1975 was a year ere the U.S. Mint made a notable change in how coins were produced. In fact, 1975 is a key year for coin collectors because the Mint produced a special set of coins to commemorate the country's bicentennial in 1976. While this didn't impact the design of the penny, it did lead to some unique circumstances. In 1975, many of the proof coins that were struck for collectors, including the penny, were minted with a slightly different die set. The term proof refers to coins that are specially struck for collectors and are usually of a higher quality than regular circulation coins. These proof coins have sharp details, deep mirrors, and no signs of wear and tear. In fact, the 1975 penny in proof condition often stands out due to its flawless, glossy appearance. In addition to these special proof coins, there was another aspect of the 1975 penny that collectors now hunt for: minting errors that occurred during production. While 1975 pennies were generally struck in large quantities, a few key minting errors and rare varieties make this coin especially valuable today. If you happen to find a 1975 penny with one of these features, you could be holding onto a rare piece of American numismatic history. Here are a few of the most valuable varieties and errors to watch out for. Double die errors. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once by the die, resulting in the design being doubled, usually in the lettering or date. The double die error is one of the most coveted errors for collectors because it's so rare, and the error is very noticeable, especially on the date or Liberty inscription on the coin. Off-center strikes. These happen when a coin is misaligned in the minting press, causing the design to be off-center. Off-center coins are always valuable because they're not your typical, everyday coin. Collectors love these for their uniqueness. Die cracks. Sometimes, the dies used to strike coins can crack, leaving visible lines on the coin. These cracks are usually small, but they can make a coin more valuable if they're particularly noticeable or if the die crack is on a part of the coin that's crucial to the design. The bicentennial connection. Even though the 1975 penny itself doesn't feature any special bicentennial design, coins from this year are often tied into the larger celebration of America's 200th anniversary. Some collectors look for minting errors or unique features on 1975 coins that were produced around the time of the bicentennial, making these even more valuable to the right buyer. When it comes to determining the value of your 1975 penny, condition is key. Like any rare collectible, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS, 70, with the highest grades being those that are in near perfect or flawless condition. A 1975 penny in mint state condition, especially one that has been graded as MS, 65 or higher, can fetch a much higher price than one that is worn or damaged. And if you have a 1975 penny with an error, especially a double die or off-center strike, the value could skyrocket even further. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. So, how much could your 1975 penny be worth? It really depends on the condition, the mint mark, and whether your coin has any error varieties. A typical 1975 penny in good condition, meaning it's been circulated but not too damaged, might only be worth around 1 cent or a few dollars, depending on the mint mark. A 1975 penny in excellent condition, one that's well preserved, uncirculated, or in a proof-like condition, can be worth much more. You might see prices range from $5 to $20, depending on how well it's been maintained. If you have a rare 1975 penny with a double die error or another significant minting flaw, that's where the value can really jump. These errors can easily push the coin's value into the hundreds, or even thousands of dollars, and if you've got a perfect 1975 penny, one in uncirculated condition, with a rare minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $49,000, yes, you heard that right, $49,000 for a single 1975 penny. It's truly mind-blowing that something so small and seemingly insignificant could have such a high value. So, if you have any 1975 pennies lying around, or if you happen to stumble upon one in your change, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You could be holding onto a small fortune. Today, we're going to talk about the 1979 1-cent coin. Now, at first glance, you might think this is just another penny. But hold your horses, because this particular coin is far from ordinary. The 1979 penny, with its unique mint marks, possible error varieties, and the condition in which it's preserved, could be worth a whole lot more than you might expect. So, stick with us until the end of the video, because we're about to reveal how much the 1979 penny could actually be worth today, and trust me, it's an amount that will make you rethink your entire coin collection. Before we get into the details of the 1979 penny, let's take a step back and understand the historical context of the time. The year 1979 was significant for a few reasons, not just in the world of numismatics but also in global events in U.S. history. In the late 1970s, America was navigating some tricky economic times, particularly dealing with high inflation rates, gas shortages, and a sluggish economy. But while these challenges were taking place, the U.S. Mint was busy working on producing coins for daily transactions, and the 1979 penny was no exception. The penny in 1979 still featured the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, on the obverse side of the coin. On the reverse, you'd see the familiar image of the Lincoln Memorial, which had been part of the design since 1959. However, unlike some other years in U.S. coinage, 1979 didn't mark a major redesign or release of special commemorative coins. Still, it would be the minting and production of these coins that would lead to some surprising discoveries by collectors in the years to follow. Now, let's talk about the different types of 1979 pennies and the mint marks that can affect their value. As with many U.S. coins, the mint mark tells you where the coin was struck, and this is crucial in determining the rarity of a particular coin. In 1979, the U.S. Mint struck pennies in 3 different locations. Philadelphia Mint. These coins are known for having no mint mark, meaning there is nothing stamped on the reverse side of the coin. If you find a 1979 penny with no mint mark, it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Denver Mint. Pennies minted here feature a D mint mark on the reverse side, right under the date. This is a common mint mark that you'll find on many 1979 pennies, but it doesn't mean all of them are the same. There are still variations that make certain ones more valuable. San Francisco Mint. While the primary role of the San Francisco Mint was to produce proof coins for collectors, it still produced some circulation strikes for collectors in proof sets. These coins have the S mint mark. If you have a 1979 penny with an S mint mark, it's likely a proof version, a coin struck with special care to meet the high-quality standards for collectors. But here's the thing. It's not just the mint mark that can make a 1979 penny valuable, it's also about the varieties and errors that were made during the minting process. This is where things get really exciting for collectors. While many 1979 pennies were produced and circulated as standard issue, there are several minting errors and varieties that make some of them worth significantly more. These mistakes can turn an ordinary penny into a rare collector's item, and in some cases, these error coins are worth thousands of dollars. Here are a few of the key errors to look out for. The 1979 wide AM reverse. This is one of the most significant errors in 1979 penny production. Most 1979 pennies have the AM, in America, closer together on the reverse side, but a small number of coins were struck with the wide AM variety, where the A and M, in America, are spaced much farther apart. If you have a 1979 penny with the wide AM reverse, it's a highly sought-after variety and could increase your penny's value dramatically. Double die errors. Double die errors happen when the coin is struck twice, creating a doubled image. This typically occurs in the design features, such as the date, lettering, or other prominent areas of the coin. If you find a 1979 penny with a double die error, especially in the year 1979 or Liberty, it could be worth much more than the typical penny. Off-center strikes. This error happens when the coin isn't aligned properly in the press, resulting in a misaligned design. Off-center strikes are extremely rare and are always highly prized by collectors. If you find a 1979 penny that has a noticeable off-center strike, you may have a valuable piece on your hands. Other minting errors. There are also smaller minting errors that can add to the rarity of a coin. These can include die cracks, repunched mint marks, and clipped planchets. Each of these errors can increase the value of your penny, depending on their severity and how noticeable they are. Now, let's talk about condition, one of the most important factors in determining how much your 1979 penny is worth. Just like any other collectible, the better the condition, the more valuable the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70, with mint state being a coin that is flawless, with no signs of wear or damage. If your 1979 penny is in mint condition, uncirculated, with no visible scratches or discoloration, it's much more valuable than one that's been heavily circulated. For example, a 1979 penny that has been well preserved in a proof set, especially if it has the S mint mark, could be worth a lot more than a standard, circulated coin. Similarly, any errors or unique varieties, such as the wide AM reverse or a double die error, will also push the value of the coin even higher. So, how much can your 1979 penny actually be worth? Well, it all comes down to the mint mark, condition, and whether you've got a rare error or variety. Here's a breakdown of potential values. Standard 1979 pennies, circulated, without errors or special features. These are generally worth only their face value. 1 cent. Uncirculated 1979 pennies. If you have a 1979 penny in excellent, uncirculated condition, you might get anywhere from $1 to $10 depending on the quality and mint mark. Asterisk 1979 pennies with rare errors like the wide AM or double die can be worth significantly more, ranging from hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on their condition and the severity of the error. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. If you have a pristine 1979 penny, one that is in perfect condition, perhaps even with an error like the wide AM variety or a double die, it could be worth as much as $55,000. Yes, you heard that right, $55,000 for a single 1979 penny. So, the next time you're sorting through your spare change or digging through old coin collections, make sure to check your 1979 pennies carefully. You could be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we've got something very special to talk about, the 1968 1-cent coin, or as you probably know it, the good old American penny. Now, when you think of a 1968 penny, you might just imagine it as a regular, everyday coin that doesn't stand out much. But I'm here to tell you that this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. That's right. You could be sitting on a coin worth far more than just 1 cent. Stick around till the end of the video because we're going to reveal the incredible value of a 1968 penny, and I promise, you'll be blown away by just how much this little coin could be worth today. Before we jump into the details of what makes the 1968 penny so valuable, let's take a quick look at the historical context. The 1960s was a dynamic decade for the United States. The country was in the midst of major political, cultural, and economic changes. The Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, the Moon Landing. 1968 was a year full of milestones and challenges, but on the coinage front, the United States was also undergoing some changes. The 1968 penny still featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which had been in circulation since 1909. The reverse of the coin still showcased the familiar design of the Lincoln Memorial, which had replaced the wheat stalks in 1959. So, the 1968 penny looked pretty much like every other penny from the 1960s, but there were still some important factors that made this coin noteworthy in the years to come. Now, let's talk about mint marks. Mint marks are important because they tell you where a coin was produced, and different mint marks can significantly affect a coin's value. For the 1968 penny, there were three main locations where these coins were struck: Philadelphia Mint. Pennies made at the Philadelphia Mint in 1968 don't have any mint mark, which means that if you find a 1968 penny without a mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. While these are common, there are still some exceptional specimens that can be valuable based on their condition or specific features. Denver Mint. Coins struck at the Denver Mint are marked with a D mint mark, located just beneath the date on the reverse side. These D mint pennies were produced in high numbers, but some rare variations and minting errors make them highly sought after by collectors. San Francisco Mint. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in 1968. These coins were struck with higher precision and designed to be sold to collectors, rather than used in circulation. If you find a 1968 penny with an S mint mark, it's likely a proof coin, a special, shiny version that is of much higher quality than regular circulation pennies. While the vast majority of 1968 pennies produced were from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are particularly valuable to collectors, especially when they are in pristine condition. So, what makes the 1968 penny stand out in the world of rare coins? There are a few factors to consider when determining the value of this penny, and it all comes down to rarity, condition, and minting errors. Let's break it down. Condition and grading. The condition of a coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS, 70, with higher grades being rarer and more valuable. A 1968 penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it has never been used in daily transactions, could be worth more than a penny that has been in circulation for years. If you happen to have a 1968 penny in perfect condition, especially one graded at MS 65 or above, it's definitely worth more than just 1 cent. But that's just the beginning. Minting errors. As with any coin, one of the biggest factors in determining the value of the 1968 penny is whether it has any minting errors. Over the years, coins have occasionally been struck with mistakes, and these mistakes can make a coin far more valuable than it would have been otherwise. Some of the most valuable 1968 pennies come from these minting errors. Double die errors. One of the most famous types of errors in the world of coin collecting is the double die error. This happens when a coin is struck twice, causing the design to be doubled. On a 1968 penny, you might notice this error on the date or the lettering on the obverse side of the coin. If you find a 1968 penny with a double die error, especially on Liberty or In God We Trust, you could have a very valuable coin on your hands. Off-center strikes. Another type of minting error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin isn't aligned correctly during the striking process, which causes part of the design to be off-center. Off-center pennies are rare and can fetch a higher price due to their unique look and rarity. Die cracks. Sometimes, the dies used to strike coins can develop cracks, leaving visible lines on the coin's surface. If your 1968 penny has a noticeable die crack, it could be worth more than a regular penny, depending on the size and location of the crack. So, how much could your 1968 penny be worth? The value can vary significantly based on factors like mint mark, condition, and whether the coin has any rare minting errors. Here's a rough idea of the potential value of a 1968 penny. Standard circulated 1968 pennies. If your 1968 penny is well worn from years of circulation and has no errors, it's likely worth only its face value, 1 cent. Uncirculated or high-grade 1968 pennies. A 1968 penny in mint condition can be worth significantly more. Depending on the quality, these coins can be worth anywhere from $1 to $10. Some uncirculated coins with excellent eye appeal can fetch higher prices at auction. Proof 1968 pennies. if you have a 1968 penny with an S mint mark, it's likely a proof coin, and these coins are far more valuable than regular circulation strikes. A high-quality proof 1968 penny could be worth $10 to $50, depending on its condition and whether it's graded by a professional numismatic service. Rare minting errors. The real value of a 1968 penny comes when you find one with a minting error. A 1968 penny with a double die error, off-center strike, or die crack can fetch much higher prices. Depending on the rarity of the error and the condition of the coin, these errors can push the value of the coin into the hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars, and here's the big reveal. If you happen to have a flawless 1968 penny, one that's graded MS-65 or higher, with a rare minting error like a double die or an off-center strike, the coin could be worth as much as $58,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $58,000 for a single 1968 penny. It's incredible to think that a simple coin from over 50 years ago could have such a high value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. So, if you're rummaging through your coin collection or going through some old change, don't overlook those 1968 pennies. If you find one in great condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, you could be holding a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on another exciting discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.